Jeffrey Dahmer could eat more chicken. Instead, however conscious or unconscious, he ate people. Hello, wonderful souls, and welcome back to another lesson. Today we're diving deep into a question that echoes in the mind of many, and this question is, can narcissists change? In our quest for answers, we'll navigate through the dark corridors of neglect and abuse and understand the roots of narcissistic tendencies. As we explore the depths of human behavior, remember the insightful words of psychiatrist and author M. Scott Peck. The evil that surrounds us is not ours to cure, but first to recognize. Join us on this profound journey as we unravel the enigma of change, confronting the shadows and seeking the light within. Now, initially I planned to put this information at the end of the previous lesson, which was how people become narcissists. However, I think it is best to make this a video by itself. Oftentimes, when people ask the question, can narcissists change? What I'm detecting is actually projection. Back in the Get It Started module titled Who Am I advised on the dangers of projection because you should not be projecting, you should be discerning. The number one rule you should remember is to know thyself, which is to understand that you are spirit, governing a human body with access to faculties such as your mind power, your willpower, and your emotions. Hence, if you know thyself, then the second rule, which is technically also the first rule, is to discern other spirits. It is very dangerous to project our consciousness onto others, especially narcissists. Projection in this way is viewing them through rose-colored lenses. When it comes to projection, understand that projection can be negative or positive. Simply put, you do not think like a narcissist. If you thought like a narcissist, then you would go out and idealize, devalue, discard, and hoover victims. So you would be seeking victims for your various abuse cycles. You would also be engaging in gaslighting, blame shifting, emotional blackmail, triangulation, etc. Projection, as defined in the Britannica Encyclopedia, is the mental process by which people attribute to others what is in their own minds. For example, individuals who are in a self-critical state, consciously or unconsciously, may think that other people are critical of them. In short, projection is seeing the self in the other. This presumably universal tendency of the human animal has both positive and negative effects. Depending on what qualities are projected and whether or not they are denied in the self, then projection can be the basis for both warm empathy or cold hatred. So when people ask, can narcissists change, there is an underlying assumption that they have the ability to change at a similar capacity that you have. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear that we are not equal. And by this, I'm not saying that you should not treat people fairly. However, we are not equal. We have various physical abilities, mental abilities, spiritual abilities, etc. For example, you can find someone that can lift 200 pounds and someone that can barely lift 2 pounds. You can find someone with impeccable discipline, then there are others of us that lack discipline to the point where this is non-existent. There are people that we use as symbols of enlightenment, such as the sages and different spiritual figures, and others that are the polar opposite, as they embody destruction, chaos, and despair. So understand that if you change, then you are a person that values change. You are a person that values self-growth and personal development. And that is why you're on channels such as NarcDojo and other similar self-improvement channels. You care enough to change. Pathological narcissists are not knowledge impaired. They are empathy impaired. They essentially do not care. It is of the utmost importance that you understand that we are different and abusers do not think like you. M. Scott Peck, psychiatrist and author of the best-selling book People of the Lie, writes that there are people who respond with hatred to the presence of goodness and would destroy the good insofar as it is in their power to do so. They lack awareness of their own evil, indeed, seeking to avoid any such awareness. They hate the light and instinctively will do anything to avoid it, including attempting to extinguish it. They will destroy the light in their own children and in all other beings subject to their power. Evil people hate the light because it reveals themselves to themselves. They hate goodness because it reveals their badness. They hate love because it reveals their laziness. They will destroy the light, the goodness, the love in order to avoid the pain of such self-awareness. Evil is laziness carried to its ultimate and extraordinary extreme. Evil people will take any action in their power to protect their own laziness to preserve the integrity of their sick self. Rather than nurturing others, they will actually destroy others in this cause. If necessary, they will even kill to escape the pain of their own spiritual growth. As the integrity of their sick self is threatened by the spiritual health of those around them, they will seek all manner of means to crush and demolish the spiritual health that may exist near them. Evil, then, is the imposition of one's will upon others by overt or covert coercion, in order to avoid extending oneself for the purpose of nurturing spiritual growth. Evil, again, put simply, is the opposite of life. It is against the living. It is against building and growing. Evil people are filled with darkness, and eventually you will see darkness outside, and when it manifests outside, then you're going to see chaos, drama, trauma, abuse, neglect, etc. Now, here's the thing. Getting in the realm of can a narcissist change is putting us in the realm of possibility versus probability. So, is it possible? Well, a lot of things are possible. However, is it probable? Not so much. Jeffrey Dahmer could eat more chicken. Instead, however conscious or unconscious, he ate people. Here is a word of caution. You should be mindful of the cannibal that invites you to dinner. This is because you may be the one that is on the menu. Pathological narcissists have pathologically low self-esteem. And the best way to think about this is to think that there is a thorn in the middle of the narcissist's back. And the thing is, they've had this thorn for a very long time. We're talking about since childhood. However, they have accepted the pain of the thorn in the middle of their back. So while it may seem very easy for you to, reach around there and help them, they believe that that is going to cause them more pain. So what I'm saying is they have already accepted the nature of who they are. So when you come along bright-eyed and bushy-tailed wanting to help them, they're not going to accept your help because they believe that you are manipulating them. You already know who narcissists are. They are the villains. They are the antagonists in any movie or series that you watch. If Gaston from the Disney's The Beauty and the Beast wanted to change, then he would. So imagine Gaston having a heart-to-heart with a therapist about his insecurities. Now, that would be a Disney sequel worth watching. Sure, in an ideal world, therapy, self-awareness, and a deep commitment to personal growth can help a narcissist gradually shed their mask and confront their vulnerabilities. However, why would they? Narcissists have demonstrated in their behavior that they are perfect and do not need to change. They are filled with pride. High levels of pride eventually turns into arrogance, hence becomes a detrimental state of being. Arrogant pride involves an inflated sense of self-importance. a lack of humility, and a tendency to belittle or look down on others. This form of pride is associated with a false sense of superiority, which separates individuals from others and can lead to a lack of genuine connection and understanding. Pathological narcissists believe that you are beneath them. Pathological narcissists do not believe in equality, they believe in inequality. And what is a belief? A belief is simply a thought that you think of continuously. It is a repetitive thought. Narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, again, the sociopaths and the psychopaths have a psycho-spiritual illness. Most clinicians only study the psyche. While not inaccurate, this is an incomplete picture of what you're dealing with. Their compromise is at the spirit level. You are dealing with people that abandoned themselves, so essentially they dissociated since childhood, and instead they have been living via their ego, and the ego is a false self. The ego is the mask. They live predominantly through their ego, hence they are programmed backwards. If you are here watching this video, then I can almost posit that in your narcissistic entanglement, it felt like up was down and left was right, and everything felt backwards. There was no true growth. And why do I call this an entanglement? Well, an entanglement is a messy relationship that's difficult to change or get out of. Sometimes it can refer to a prolonged or accidental affair or to a codependent type of relationship. The type of relationships that don't seem to end because there's a constant back and forth. Entanglements are defined by dishonesty, insecurity, and a lack of relationship growth. In a narcissistic entanglement, you were in a relationship of one. Pathological narcissists simply do not exist. You are dealing with a mask. And what is the mask? It is the ego. And what is the ego? It is a mind-made construct created by a child that now exists inside of an adult's body. This is why you felt like you couldn't truly know them. They do not exist. You were interacting with a mask, and the mask is a figment of a child's imagination. Narcissists exist in the upside down. It is a dimension that is parallel to the human world. Human beings are multidimensional in nature. Narcissists exist in an alternate dimension, a delusional reality, because they're not operating out of their true self. They're not operating out of their true spirit. They abandoned themselves. They disassociated from themselves and identified with an ego. You are dealing with a captain that abandoned their ship. The driver is in the back seat. In order for a narcissist to change, they would have to be a completely different person. However, they have been down a dark path for so long that for them it doesn't make sense to turn back. As we conclude, let us remember the power of awareness and the courage to face our deepest shadows. Reflecting on M. Scott Peck's wisdom, the path to awareness lies in questioning everything. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and always seek the truth within. Until next time, keep shining your light, for it dispels the darkness in our world. I hope to see you in our next lesson.